Prominent Malayalam novelist C. Radhakrishnan resigned from his position as the eminent member of the Kendra Sahitya Akademi. Radhakrishnan's resignation comes right on the heels of the controversy surrounding T.M. Krishna getting Sangeeta Kalanidhi award and other Carnatic singers boycotting the event that will facilitate the Carnatic vocalist. Radhakrishnan, in a letter dated April 1, 2024 and addressed to Akademi Secretary Srinivasa Rao, said he was resigning to protest the inauguration of the literary festival by a union minister who did not have any known credentials in literature. In the letter, it was stated that last year the presence of a minister of state in the festival's inaugural session had invited protests from writers and assurances were given that this would not repeat. However, this year too, the Kendra Sahitya Akademi's Festival of Letters, organized in Delhi from March 11th to 16th, was inaugurated by Arjun Meghwal, Union Minister of State for Culture. Radhakrishnan, who is the only other writer from Kerala, apart from M.T. Vasudevan Nair, to be given eminent membership, spoke to me at length about his decision to resign in such a manner. Let's watch the interview with the octogenarian. Could you please help us and our viewers understand why you decided to resign from your post as an eminent member of the Kendra Sahitya Akademi?
You see, the Sahitya Akademi has been or is independently functioning autonomous body of culture in the country. Every other academy has already gone under the pressure of political influence and become ad hoc bodies. Academies in most states and the Lalita Academy and the Sangeeta Academy at the center are already running on ad hoc ruling committees. The founder fathers of the Sahitya Akademi had insisted upon the independence of the academy right from the beginning, and fortunately it had been kept all along so far. But recently there is a trend to have the influence of the political ruling party or power to affect its clout on the academy. It is not a right trend, and unless it is checked right at the start, it is not going to be of any value for the nation. So the academy has to be kept safe from political influence or outside political influence. And I thought I would highlight this and make a protest. That is the only reason. There is no other reason. I have nothing against any political party, any particular individual, any minister. Only interest is the safeguarding of the academy's independence.
By having resigned, don't you think you are actually losing whatever little position that you have to be given over to somebody else who is going to do exactly what you have foretold?
You see, I have resigned because I wanted to drive home 2 points. One, to my fellow members in the academy. Some of them asked me whether they should resign after me. I said, no, I resign in protest as a symbol. And you remember, please, that I have resigned for a certain purpose. And the purpose is this, that you should never be politically aligned. Keep your own independence in the academy's forum so that no political aspiration coming from outside could put a natural dividing line between you or somebody else in the academy's body. And the other thing is, I just wanted to give a signal to the general public that this is going on in the academy, and we have to be very careful about that. This 2-pointed objective was being served by the resignation and nothing else. And by doing this, I think I have done better service to the academy than being there for the rest of 4 years and trying to do whatever I can. This probably would do better than that. This is my viewpoint.
Sir, in the letter that you had written to the Academy Secretary, Srinivasa Rao, you had mentioned that, there was this Festival of Letters that was organized by the Kendra Sahitya Akademi in early March. But inauguration of it by a minister, again this time around, was probably the last straw that made you take this decision. Can you please explain that incident itself?
No, it looked like there was some sort of a compulsion. I don't know whether from the academy side or from any other side that it should be inaugurated like this time. And that is a kind of preconditioning imposition, which was very wrong in the right directional movement of the academy. I thought I should resist it. And this was the only way before me to do that. But earlier, we had protested openly to the secretary last year. And he had promised, and the president had promised, that this won't happen again. But this year again, exactly the same thing happened. That means protest in words or requesting replication is not going to be of any result.
Wasn't it the 70th anniversary of the academy? So the participation, making the Festival of Letters a huge event, and an attempt to make it the largest literary festival in the world. So having somebody known, somebody prominent inaugurate it, wouldn't that have made a more, effort or made more noise amongst the media to make it happen, to celebrate this big number, it being the 70th anniversary of the Academy?
Well, in that case, wouldn't we have invited the President of India, or probably this year's Nobel laureate outside, or probably the best writer, the oldest man, or the most gifted man in the country itself, and requested him to do that? Was not the right way. Why should we sort of think of going to a politician? Imagine the Academy's greatest festival being inaugurated by the Rashtrapati ji. Would that have been great? I think she would have obliged if we requested her right and proper in the right kind of mode and conduct. Now, this would have been much, much better because she is a non-political person and a constitutional seat, which all of us in India, all over the world honor.
You are one more person to have said that about the political interferences in arts. Now, there has been a lot of hue and cry about political interferences in these arts, especially now if you look at it in the Carnatic music scene. You have also particularly mentioned that, you would like to have the autonomy of these academies back. Now that you have mentioned this, I would like to know from you how you think these academies should be functioning with regard to the way the political landscape of the country is today.
I think the Academy should show the political stage in India, how politics should be conducted on moral and principle lines. I have an apprehension that India politics is getting more and more communalized, casteized. I'm afraid every political party has a caste or communal file to hold. It's a very, very different picture than in most countries of the world. In modernized countries, you don't have this problem. People are getting divided on caste and communal lines just because the political parties want to exploit those feelings for their own standing and advancement. This, in the long run, is going to affect the country itself, its creativity, its sustainability, its modesty, its morality, its existence even. It should be checked. And how do you check it? By throwing a model. In the Academy, we are beyond casteism, we are beyond communalism, we are beyond sectarianism. We are for the nation. We are for the entire Indian people. And politics should be that. That should be for the entire Indian people, the polity. But unfortunately now, you see, and we have one fact that we should not forget. In India, our democracy is not a kind of complete democracy in the sense we never had a majority government in the sense we never had a government that had the mandate by the 51% of voters, not polled votes, but voters list. That means half of the country does not participate in the democracy. And the other half participating are naturally divided on caste and communal lines. And we have umpteen number of political parties so that the winner gets only 10 to 12% of the polled votes. And that is about 8-9% of the entire voters' bank. That means we have always been ruled by minority governments, and that is a very detrimental factor for the nation. This is because we have caste and communal oriented parties, and we have so many castes in India. I'm afraid in a couple of years more, if you go like this, we'll have hundreds of political parties. That means the majority man will be getting only about 1% of the polled votes, and we will have a government made by those people. Unfortunately, this is the trend Indian politics is taking, according to me. We should check it. Check it how? Check it by an apex body, the Academy, which had been functioning independently for so many decades. It should show the way that we can be non-communal, we can be non-casteist, we can be non-divisive, we can be united, we can be whole. We are India. As a writer, you see, that is my pledge to the nation. We have a general council and an executive committee. Both are elected, one elected from the other. And no member is a nominated member. So the Academy's functioning has been like this for decades, And founder fathers like Jawaharlal Nehru and Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, they were participants in the Academy's functions and deliberations, but not as the Prime Minister or the President of India, but as in their individual capacity as great scholars, thinkers, and academicians. But thereafter, we didn't have any influence from anybody. See, people like Vajpayee ji, Murali Manohar Joshi ji, they never wanted to impose any kind of control over the academy other than what could be exercised by the existing fundamental principles and the constitution of the academy. I remember Murali Manohar Joshiji coming once to a seminar in the academy on his own without his police escort, participating in the function and going away. That's a very welcome sign, you see. That is how it should be. All are equal. We academicians and the politicians are all equal. We are in our own fields doing what we have to do and what we can do. But the two should keep a separate distance, so that safe distance, so that one doesn't overlap or come under the influence or is subjected to the influence of any other. This is a major kind of formula, policy, principle I would like to see functioning in the academy. To highlight that particular point, I thought I would make a protest, and this is that protest. I was a member of the executive council of the academy of the committee that existed one before the immediately past one. We remain for 5 years in the committee. For the next 5 years, you cannot go anywhere near the academy's administrative body. So there's a gap of 5 years, and in that 5 years, we had the inklings of the government trying to control the academy, in the sense asking the academy to go and submit the plans and decisions to the government before they could be implemented. The secretary had to go to the ministry once every week, later twice every week, to report what was happening and get the sanction. This was done never before, and the executive council had to meet often to discuss how to deal with the government's interference. And the government representatives on the executive committee, ex officio members of the committee, they were meant to guide the academy to go in line with the government's rules and regulations regarding the stipulated methods of spending money. But they began to dictate what the academy should do. And we had very tense moments in the executive committee meetings about this particular aspect. And now, when I became a member again last year, I went there. I saw the academy premises being controlled by policemen. So I asked what was happening. They said a minister was coming to inaugurate it. So as a secretary, why are we deviating from the norms of the academy and inviting a politician to inaugurate a function? Age-old academicians, fellows of the academy, one of them normally came and inaugurated the function. So the secretary and the existing president told us that this wouldn't be repeated. They would take care that this is not taking place again. But this year again, this was the same situation, and probably in much greater grandeur and glare. So I thought at this rate, we couldn't go on. We have to put a kind of resistance to it. And that resistance was in the form of my desire to step down from the academy and tell the academy that according to me, this was not the right thing to do. So far as I knew, and I had experienced, the members of the General Council or the executive body of the academy, independent of whatever their political stands and dispositions and viewpoints in life outside, in the academy, they were all members of the academy, and no background came into the performance that they had in the academy's council. But these days, later, I find the membership is beginning to be polarized on political lines. There is a very dangerous sign. Whatever be the politics of an academy member, that politics did not come into the picture before. But now we have a politicalized line of division between the members, and that is going to be not for the good of the academy. So my continuing there probably wouldn't help any to remove my doubts.
Can you please explain a little bit more about the concerns that you have said that you have about the attempts that are being made to modify the way academy functions? What are those concerns that you have?
The academy has a constitution designed long back, and that constitution has remained intact for all these decades. That is the backbone of the academy's freedom and independence. Now we have to safeguard that document that we have. But what happens is, if there's a political division in the council, anybody can bring in a amendment to the constitution, and if that amendment gets a majority, it will come into effect. But previously, the members were not politicalized, so there was no possibility of any particular pre-planned attempt to change the constitution of the academy. I don't mean to say that there is one now, but I will not be surprised if there comes one tomorrow. I just wanted to forestall that.